So coming from India, I opted for a university managed accommodation because I wanted to be I wanted to have less stress in my life apart from the academic stress that I was already expecting is going to be there. Lesser tension of bills and stuff because it's all included. So I opted for the Cleveland's postgraduate accommodation. I'm really happy with the location. It is very close to the city center, and even if you don't want to go all the way to the city center, there's a Tesco right nearby, and the bus stop is very near. Like I said, everything is really well connected. The security is always on beck and call. If we need anything, we can just contact them. And so they're on the premises till 5, and then if you need help beyond that, you can always call them up. They're very prompt with that. I myself I have opted for an ensuite room, but then there are other options that you can try out. If you think that having an ensuite is not really a necessity, standard rooms are more cost effective. If you go via that route, many of my friends have standard rooms, and they're pretty they're even more spacious than the ensuite rooms, to be honest. There are other options like studio, and I'm currently living with 5 flatmates, like including myself. But there are other arrangements and other kind of postgraduate accommodations. But if I'm not mistaken, all the postgraduate accommodations are outside the campus. So if you're a postgraduate, you cannot stay inside the campus like that undergraduates do. And they are most of them are like spread all across the city, near the city center and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right, so I lived in Putney Court, which is also a university managed accommodation, and it's also right at the city center. It's very close to the city, really, just 7 minutes walks from my accommodation to the city center. And also, I like the fact that my accommodation is close to Virgil Building, which is another study space you could explore as a postgrad. So you don't need to even go to the campus to study. Like, you can use that space. It's a purpose-built building. You can study in there. And I also enjoyed the fact that my accommodation made my life a lot easier because I don't have to think of paying bills or things like that. Once I made payment for my accommodation, everything is being catered for. And the most important thing in the accommodation is the fact that the security are out with you 24/7. They come around every night to be sure that everything is ordered. For example, during exam period, they make sure that the accommodation is quiet, especially when you need to study. You won't be studying and people are partying in the other flat. So they make sure that your life is a little better because nobody's disturbing you when you are studying, for example, you are preparing for tests. So it's a kind of regulated environment, and you also have the opportunity to meet people. I think the only thing I would love to say to internationals is the fact that this university managed accommodation made things a lot better because you don't have to keep struggling about, okay, maybe getting guarantors to sign for you when you are paying your rent or things like that. And also it's an opportunity for you to easily network and meet people from different parts of the world. I made friends from almost all the countries I could ever imagine because I lived in a university managed accommodation. And at the end of the year, we usually have this kind of party barbecue in a compound basically. So it's an opportunity for me to explore, especially during the pandemic when you can't go out, you can't go outside there. So meeting people from different parts of the world was a lot easier living in a university managed accommodation. And I think I've mentioned the fact that during exam nobody will be disturbing you with late night parties. So for me, that's a plus. I don't want to hear music when I'm studying. So it's like a beautiful part of living in the accommodation. Now you can easily get to the city center to buy things and all. Then the bus station is very close to my accommodation. For Putney Court, you just come out of your accommodation and you get to the bus stop, and that was a lot easier for me. So the days I choose to walk down to the campus, it takes about 30 minutes walking up the hill, but coming it's about 15 minutes, and it's such a beautiful and lovely view. So I enjoyed my time in the university managed accommodation, I would say.